Hey Cachers, Derek here, Big Six Clan. Today we're back in the workshop and we're going to be using another one of these. Let's get started. So you may be asking yourselves, well, didn't you just build a gadget with one of those? Yeah, I did, but there's so many different ideas that you can use, and you know, I have a few preforms to make, you know, so I'm trying to come up with different gadgets that I can use for different preforms, and I really like that mechanism. So here's a question for you. If you have a gadget that you could build with a preform, hey, leave me a comment down below. I would love to see it. I'd love to talk to you, and maybe I could redo and show how to build that here on Behind the Cache. And if I do use one of your gadgets, hey, you know what? Maybe I can send you something. I maybe send you a couple preforms for you to come up with some more gadgets with. All right, but today what I'm going to be making is I'm going to be making a puzzle gadget. Of course, it's going to be a puzzle, but it's going to be a maze. So you're going to have to run an object through the maze to get it to activate that latch here to drop the preform. Now I've got the top and the bottom are cut out and the two sides are cut out. Now I'm going to be setting up the router to run the lip through here so I can slide a piece of wood inside there to give it that barrier, which I will eventually then take the router and route the maze into that piece of wood. So this bolt here that I have in my hand will actually be routed through the maze to flip that latch to set the preform down. So I'm going to set the router up and I'm going to run these through the router and get all that ready to go. So all the sides now have been routed, and so I'm going to put these together, put the bottom and the two sides on. I'll leave the top off for a little bit to get the measurements for the wood that's going to go inside to get that cut up, and then we'll get to placing all the other parts. So there's the piece that I just cut, and that just slips very nicely in there now. So that's ready to go. There's enough space here where the bolts go. But next, what I need to do is take the mechanism and go ahead and mount it in here for where it's going to go, right in there. So when the latch gets flipped there, and I'll have to also put a hole in the bottom of where the tube will come right out. So there it's mounted. It's mounted in here. There's a hole down here at the bottom now so that this will, when the lever comes up, the preform will drop out and you can still push that up there. You may have to have a little bit more fingers, and sometimes you may have to have a tot, but it still goes up in there. All right, so it's a little bit further, so that's good. Now the next part is that I need to mark on the back where different levels are for where I'm going to actually start running this through the router so we can start routing the maze into the front wood. So let's get that routed, marked up, and we'll get that running through the router. So we got it made up. Now, before I got to this, on the front, I had to redo the front panel because originally this was the first one that I did. And I had forgotten that when I cut out, this would be freestanding and I didn't have enough width here to be able to support it once I put it back into the box. So I went back and redid it and cut it out another one. Now this one is free, I can have it in here, and I put some screws into it here to support it so it doesn't really push back. And I will show you the back of that here in a minute because I've left this open so you can see it. But now I can run this bolt up and through the maze and bring it up, and there's the preform, drops, and it's locked. Now, you're wondering, well, why can't I just go straight up? Well, where would the fun be in that? I've actually put a lock into it so you can't just stop it right there. So, all right, now let me show you the back. So here's the back, all right? So I've made these little latches of stops so it kind of holds those pieces in there. Now this bracket here is just to keep the device from sliding back and forth. Now inside, I used another one of the Molly's hinges down here in the bottom to keep that bolt from being able to come back up. That is my simple maze of how to activate this latch here. So I hope you've enjoyed this. Now remember, I would love to hear from you if you have any more ideas of some gadget caches that I could build with some preforms. As you saw before, I have just a few preforms to build caches with. But hey, thank you for joining me today. Click that subscribe button, but don't go anywhere. Check out one of these other videos just right over here and check out the story behind the cache.